Welcome to Crease and Desist, a hockey podcast run by two Leafs mad lassies who just love the goalies. Hello,
hey, Fiona.
Okay.
How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. How's your week been?
It's been lovely. I've had lots of plumbing issues here in my
Oh,
house, and it's been an absolute shite week. I'm
oh
not gonna lie. The
no.
only thing that's kept me afloat is watching the hockey playoffs.
Oh,
It's been real exciting stuff. Drinking some beers, hanging out in this beautiful Toronto weather that we've been having. We had a heat wave here. We were all
wow.
dying. Now it's seasonal again, but I guess yeah, so the week sort of balanced itself out.
Sounds great. I like the thought of the good weather approaching. We've had not too bad weather. We always start this chatting about the weather. How very
We
British
do.
of me. It's very British of me to talk about the weather.
Uh,
But unlike you, I haven't really been deep diving too much into playoffs. I haven't been staying up late because obviously got like work and stuff the next day. Especially for like the Western Conference side, they're far too late for me to stay up and watch
oh
live.
God.
But I do try and catch up, and I always catch up on social media and see what's happening. So I do know who's into the final four, the conference finals for the East and the West. So what's your thoughts?
Well, you always hear it from me because when you go to sleep, I'm continually messaging you on the updates. Um, well, uh, what can I say about this? Okay. So I was convinced that Buffalo was going to go and win a Stanley Cup because they have been an absolute wagon. They were on fire, unbeatable, so good, and they were a Cinderella story. And I thought, my God. And then, but no, no, it didn't happen. And the funny thing is the game could have went either way. Montreal Canadiens won, and they won the series, and they're moving on to play the Carolina Hurricane. I'll get into that in a second, but God, like it could have went either way, and I felt sorry for Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, best name in NHL,
Best name ever.
best name of all. Um, and like it was the overtime was happening, and then randomly it was a shot from, oh my God. I see his name in my head right now, and I can't. Anyways, the shot went in, overtime was over, Montreal won, and oh my God. And then Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen was crying.
Oh no, I
So,
hate that. I hate seeing that.
and it was awful. And Montreal Canadiens fans set off a tiny earthquake, a point 0.5 Richter earthquake in Montreal after each goal that they scored. So,
Point
I mean,
five. Come on,
the
I could
I
make
know.
a bigger earthquake if I farted, for goodness sake.
But their fans went nuts. And I mean, on one hand, it's very endearing to see, but on the other hand, now I'm have to root for the Carolina Hurricanes, which
Yeah.
I'm not against because I like Seth Jarvis and don't mind them. The old Hartford Whaler team, now it's
Yeah.
Carolina Hurricanes, don't mind them. I don't know how Montreal's going to get past them because they're very, very
Hmm.
good.
They are.
They are a hurricane,
Hmm.
but and they're very well rested. They
Absolutely.
have had,
That is
yeah,
one clear advantage.
whereas
Um,
Montreal has had a time.
they
So,
have. I was going to ask you about the incident about the wasn't it a goalie interference shout when Dobish was flinging himself about like a floppy fish. And there was a lot of chat online about whether he'd embellished slightly. I don't know what was your thoughts on that?
well, I think sometimes when you see these things, especially during the playoffs and these tight games, uh, I mean, if Sidney Crosby can do it, anybody can do it.
It
He
does.
is tippy top elite. So it's not surprising. I think that just you're automatically gonna embellish, even if you
Yeah.
say, I'm not an embellisher, but like when the game really matters,
Yeah.
you may catch yourself a couple times.
Yeah.
Once again, we've talked about this, the whole goalie interference thing.
Mm.
It's so like wishy-washy. Like the
Yeah.
refs call it kind of how they see it, like, and they don't know, and there's no particular rules in place. So they do really have to get on that because goalies are going to get hurt.
Mm,
The number of helmets that keep getting flung off and they
mm,
don't blow the whistle,
hmm
that I cringe when I see that
hmm
because
Yep.
that's a head injury waiting to happen or a skate injury or something
I
or
was
a puck to the face.
just going back to what you said about the embellishment. If our boy Sid can do it, anyone can do it. Did you see that when Philly had their paint the ice? They somebody actually drew the kind of dead man body outline.
The outline.
That was so funny. I love it. I love the
That is
chips.
good. God, I'm
Brilliant.
jealous. I wish I would have done that. Oh, that's hilarious.
That was
Wow.
really good.
Yeah, well, the embellishing thing I think is just a little's gonna happen. I feel
Yeah.
like some people
So
go down from the littlest things, especially in the
yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah.
But on the other side of things, Vegas is playing, they beat out the Ducks.
Yep.
Now they get to play. Yeah, the
Yeah, the
Avalanche.
avalanche.
First
Yeah.
game's going to be tonight,
Yep.
and I can't wait because you see, the problem is with Vegas is they are playing in the Western Conference,
hmm
and McDavid labeled it perfectly. He called it the pillow fight conference for a reason because it seems like the hockey is different. It's a
hmm
little more stylish and less rough and
hmm
tumble.
hmm
So now they're playing the Avs, and it's going to be a different style of hockey
Yeah. I mean,
for them.
you look at the points in the regular season. If you looked at that table compared to Atlantic, I mean, I think they Vegas wouldn't have even appeared like seventh on our Atlantic
No way.
list
Yeah, not a
because
chance.
it was like there was quite a lot of the points that were gained through like overtime ones, so they were or over
Hmm.
even they were gaining a point by drawing on regular
Yes.
time and then going into overtime and maybe even losing. So it was a slightly different view, and there's been a lot of chat about this online about people saying they've had it softer, they don't play as hard teams, they wouldn't have had it as easy if they had been playing over the east side. And I think I tend to agree, and I think this will
Yeah.
be the match that is going to
We're gonna
be
see.
yeah,
It's gonna now is the time for them to like we're gonna see the difference because the Avalanche is well, they're very, 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 very good. It's funny when you looked at the points in the Eastern Conference compared to the Western Conference, like you said,
yep,
Vegas was at the almost a top, if not at the
yep,
top of their conference at one
yep.
point, the division. And then like you look at the Eastern Conference and the conference, like the teams that were in fifth or sixth
hmm
had more points than
Aye,
Vegas.
exactly.
Right.
Yep.
So you're right. It's gonna be, well, we're gonna see tonight,
Yeah,
aren't
and
we?
I just saw earlier that my car is out with a shoulder injury.
Oh
It does.
boy.
Yeah, he's out for tonight. It doesn't
Oh.
state if it's a long term or whether it's just a I'll rest it, but he's definitely out for tonight. Our boy, Kale.
Oh
Um,
boy. Well, they'll just shoot him full of steroids in the second game. He'll be okay.
but
That's
yeah,
what
it
they'll
should be
do.
good. I certainly won't be staying up. I think it's on maybe 1 a.m. I won't be staying up to watch it. I might catch up on the
No.
highlights tomorrow, or indeed my DMs from you.
Yeah, I'll be DMing you, probably swearing about Vegas.
Yeah,
Usually it'll be
yeah.
that. So, like I said, I apologize to any Vegas fans out there. I don't, I'm just, they're not for me.
No,
It's,
they're not for me either. It's just not a team that I would follow, and it's not a team that I would certainly stay up to watch.
yeah.
Despite the fact I would quite like to see the series with the Avs. I may watch a game on catch up. I might fast forward it anytime Vegas have got the puck. Who knows?
And
It's just
also, sorry, just their decision-making processes confuse me, their management. It's,
mm,
they took advantage of that LTIR rule for several years.
yeah,
So did Tampa Bay, but I mean,
yeah,
they were pretty well known of taking advantage, and we can explain that in another podcast. Like if
yeah,
we, we'll go
exactly.
down that road. And like just the recent, they
Yeah, the kind
the
of
hiring of their goalie choice hiring was kind of sketch to
hmm
me a little bit, and they're now Tortorella getting fined $100,000 for not and losing their second round draft pick. Like Tortorella can afford the $100,000, he doesn't give a shit. Like he's
hmm
got money, right?
hmm
But like he didn't come and talk to the media, which is a no-no in the NHL. You're supposed to do that, and he didn't do it. So yeah, he gets fined, but like now they're like, what's more concerning is they lost their second round pick. That affects the whole organization,
Yeah.
not just Tortorella, right? So it's just sketchy stuff. Like
It's
I
just
just
that
don't.
I don't like that holier than thou attitude at all.
And
I'm not,
the glitter
and
jerseys too.
and
Can't
to
do
be
it.
fair, I'm just not a fan of torts at all. I just don't like the guy. So, well,
Yeah, he's a
it
bit of a
doesn't,
hothead.
yeah, I just don't like him.
Well,
Um,
you heard they appealed that and they
yeah,
lost their appeal. They're like,
exactly.
no, sorry.
Yeah,
And you know, like, it's just I don't know.
yeah.
I can't I don't like them. I
No,
just don't support them. They're not my team. They're not on my
exactly.
list.
I mean, I don't
Yeah.
hate them. I don't
No.
hate them. I don't hate them that I'd wish them bad and wish them to fail in everything they do. I just don't care. I
Yes,
just don't
exactly.
care.
And also to be fair and to make a point, it has nothing to do with the Mitch Marner
Oh no,
saga.
absolutely. I'm actually
Both of
delighted for him.
us.
I mean, he's actually leading the playoffs in points.
Yep.
He's up there for the Conn Smythe. If he carries on. I am delighted for him. I love to see people thrive, and I know it's quite bittersweet because you always wish they could have done it when they were with Toronto, but we look at people moving on and doing well, and like Bobby McMahon when he moved to Seattle, and he's absolutely been embraced by the fans. They're calling him Bobby McJesus because he scored so many nice wee goals towards
Aw.
the end of the season, and they've just embraced him, and he's loving the life over there. I love to see that. They're
Yeah, it's
humans,
nice to
and they love
see.
their
Like,
sport.
and Mitch Marner is an absolute fucking amazing hockey player.
He is. He's
I've
superb.
always said he was a natural. He's
He is.
so good at what he does. And it's a different environment now, and good for him. Like you said,
Absolutely.
good for him.
Good for him. So I look forward to your play-by-play updates
You
when I
betcha.
wake up
You'll
in the
hear all
morning.
about it.
For me, it's been kind of on the international stage. I've been watching the World Championship, the IIHF, which is taking place in the beautiful country of Switzerland. So mostly just been watching the Canada team, and I watched a wee bit of the USA. So just from a goalie perspective, like purely, we've got Cam Talbot and Jet Greaves. And then we've also got the young dude, Jack Ivankovic, as our third goalie. So they seem to have done really well. We've got a really good roster in the Canada team. Sidney Crosby's there, Celebrini's the captain.
That's
Who else?
amazing.
Who else have we got? We've got
Don't you love it? Sorry to interrupt you, but don't you love it that Sidney Crosby turned down
it's brilliant.
Macklin Celebrini was like, I'll give him the captain. He was my idol growing up. And Sid is like, no, you take
You
it.
take it, you keep it exactly. Because I
You
think
deserve it.
Sidney Crosby came in late to replace someone that wasn't able to go, and I think that was offered, like, did you take the C? And he went, absolutely not. You've been given the
Yeah.
C. But it's
Classy.
quite funny because on the internet they're saying the C stands for child captain and the A stands for adult captain. But it's quite a good wee roster considering a lot of the teams that have been sent over to the Worlds. It's quite a depleted roster, because it's been a tough season around the NHL, and obviously we've got some team members that are still playing in playoffs. But I mean, Canada, we've got Minton, Tavares, Crosby, Celebrini, we've got Porter Martone, your favourite, and we've even got Morgan Riley. Oh,
I was
bless
just
him.
gonna mention it. So
Oh,
he came back from Uranus to
yeah, he
play.
did. He did. He was fired to
Wow.
Uranus, and he managed to hop on the next space shuttle back. So it's been really quite entertaining to watch. They've won all their games, their three games so far. I mean, they look set to be winning the whole tournament. On the USA side in goal, we've got Devin Cooley from Calgary. We've got our Joseph Wall, and
Oh, Joey.
yeah, a younger guy. Oh, I can't even mind his name. Drew somebody. He's at the kind of the third goalie, but USA haven't been faring so well. But again, they've got a really kind of mixed team. There aren't. I mean, I think we've got James Higgins is in there. He's one of the names that stands out. But again, I don't think any of the big stars were really willing to go over and play. It's quite a young team. I think the average age is only about 25, so I don't think there was
Ryan
a.
Leonard.
Yeah, I don't think.
From he's there too, yeah?
I don't think there was huge
Oh no.
expectations.
Is Ryan Leonard Canadian?
I don't know.
I should know this. I have to Google this.
Yeah, so I think there wasn't like a huge expectation in the USA team, but our Joseph Wall had a terrible game against Finland the other day. Terrible. He let in 5 goals on 10 shots, and he got
Oh
pulled.
my God.
He got pulled, and Cooley went in, and it got me thinking. You know, goalie swaps out. Sometimes we think, yeah, justified, especially that one, 5 goals on 10. But there's
Oh God, yeah.
other situations where you think, I don't know if that was justified. It's actually quite humiliating in a way. So it got me thinking about this whole justified versus humiliating when it comes to goalie swap outs, um, during games. What's your thoughts?
Uh, yeah, that's interesting because like we were talking before, sometimes goalie swap outs aren't just because of poor performance, right? Like a goalie, in the first 10 minutes of the game, if they let 4 goals go in, or Joseph Wall 5 out of 10 shots, that's a bit of a performance issue. Let's
Yeah,
pull them so that they're not completely embarrassed.
yeah,
Um, like, so I guess it's to spare them at some point. Maybe they're having an off game, which is possible. Maybe the team in front of them, their D sucks. Maybe the team's just not supporting them and they're getting shelled. And other like I think goalies are trained to accept this part of the game as part of the game. Do you know what I'm
hmm
saying? Like I think that they're told there's going to be several times in your career where you're going to be pulled. And it's not always because you're playing bad, but more so maybe your coach or your goalie coach, your development coach kind of sees maybe that notices maybe you're playing differently because you've re-aggravated an injury, it's bothering you, and you're not realizing it because you got the adrenaline flowing. It could be like a strategic move, but the majority of the ones that I've seen are for bad performance.
yeah.
And there's got to be some sort of psychology behind that. You know more about that than me.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think, just going back to if the question is justified or humiliating, I would say neither. It's strategic or it's performance based. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
basically it. I mean, humiliation itself is something that we absorb as humans. I mean, we can choose to be humiliated or we can brush it off. We could choose to be embarrassed or we can just let it go. I think the difference between embarrassment is it's short-lived, whereas humiliation it takes place publicly.
Yeah.
It challenges your view of yourself. It then leads to, feelings of self doubt or worthlessness. So I guess that it's all about the sport and psychology that sits behind that. And as you said, I mean, people in sports, any athlete at all, and anyone in high performance and high impact speed sports like hockey, they've got their sports psychologists that are working with them. And I would say especially the goalies because it's such a mental position. I think I read somewhere like 10% physical, 90% mental in a way. Um, but I think that it's more humiliating when they get pulled in a game early, immediately following quick succession, but primarily on a big stage like the playoffs or on an international stage. I could probably think that Joseph Wall would have went off feeling quite down. And there
You could
was a
see it on
little,
his face.
yeah, he was sitting on the bench,
Yeah.
he was holding his nose and shaking his head like he just knew.
He
Um,
knows.
this was a
Yeah.
showcase for him. He was off to the Worlds to represent his country at a high profile tournament. This was his chance and he's blew it. If that's what he'd be thinking
Yeah, that's
as a
what he
human,
thinks. And
um,
also, if he actually took his leave of absence at the beginning this year for the same sort of reasons, this would have really been triggering for him. I
yeah,
mean, good for him. I was gonna say, and it's very short, that the goalie, I think too, like you said, it's a public thing. They're in the public eye because you can watch a hockey game and not see some of the mistakes that are going on with the forwards and the D. But when it comes to the goalie, he's the only one doing that job,
Yep.
and all the mistakes are right out there on the table for everybody to see.
Because it's the last line before the goal goes in. I mean,
Yep,
you might remember that Austin Matthews um, faced a turnover and lost the puck. He lost control. You might remember that Morgan Riley wasn't too great in game five. But you sometimes then just move on, but you'll always remember that Stoley let the goal in.
right.
You know, because
You
that's the focus.
always
It's almost like I work at the as a cashier at Walmart. I'm the face of the company. Whatever folk are moaning about is my problem because I'm the face of the company. It's nothing to do with me. That's a
oh,
goalie. That is the
yeah,
goalie.
yeah.
They're the face of the team because they're the ones that ultimately decide
Like
if you're going to lose.
exactly like what I was saying too with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, like his team, I don't know what happened in that game in overtime there where they lost, but like I certainly remember seeing that goal go in. And you know
Hmm.
what? I don't know where the defense were. I couldn't tell you where the forwards were.
Hmm.
All I saw was the goalie, UPL, letting the goal in. And
Yeah.
I thought, and yeah, I'm guilty of it. I thought, oh my gosh, that I don't even think he was screened. Like
Yep.
I think he should have probably saved that. But I mean, that's what you remember.
Yep. And
That's what
there's
you remember.
And there's no other position where when you're actually pulled off, you're made to sit on that bench
Yeah.
like the naughty step, basically. It's actually that could be we call it the big boy chair. But yeah, I mean
Yeah.
you're pulled off and you've got to sit there in front of the crowd and just face the fact that you were swapped out. You were
And
you were you were
the
exactly the
camera
camera's always facing you
zooms in on you
and you're
and
wearing the
you're
sad
sitting
hat.
there feeling like a stupid idiot.
So I
Uh,
actually looked into the psychology of humiliation. It's as an attack on your status or identity. It feels like an attack. So whether it's justified or not, whether you can say, well, do you know what? I totally understand why I wasn't good enough. They pulled me off, they swapped me out. The coach had his reasons. I understand that. That doesn't take away for the fact that you have an emotional reaction to basically the perceived negative judgment that you feel. It's an attack on your dignity, on your status, and it's you feel exposed, especially on the big stage as well. And the other thing is you're unable to defend yourself because it's just a decision that's getting made, which leads me kind of nicely into this. I was reading this sports psychologist, Dr. Paul McCarthy. He's an Irish guy, but he's based in Glasgow. He tutors and lectures at Caledonian University in Glasgow Caledonian University, and he's written a lot about sports psychology, and he's worked with a lot of people across numerous sports, including ice hockey, and he speaks about the shame rage cycle. So it's basically it's like there's a trigger there, underperformance or inadequacy. Um, it shapes your brain to then default to an aggressive behavior. Um, so you'll interpret a decision like being pulled as something that's a core flaw in you, and because shame's uncomfortable, it releases the cortisol, it releases the adrenaline. And then what that means is that you'll start to feel a bit powerful and then you'll start lashing out. I think that that is why a lot of the times we see these goalies going off their nuts, throwing their nets, bashing their stick, shouting at their teammates. That's that shame rage cycle. It's almost like a release. It's a challenge to their ego and their identity. Um, they're suffering emotional and physical distress, and they're also they've got an aversion to loss. So all of these things are built up, and I think that's why you get them thrown the tantrum, as we call it. But unlike a child, where a tantrum is an uncontrolled outburst because they don't have the capacity to know why they feel the way they do, so they act out. Adults do. But this shame rage cycle does actually explain exactly why this might take place. So I wondered what your thoughts were on that and goalie tantrums, as we call them. Maybe that's unfair to call them tantrums, but
No, we could call them that for the sake of calling them that. But I have a question. Do you think this is related to the human um, reaction to rejection? Because I think, like, if somebody gets rejected, like, let's say, a woman rejects a man's advances, flirting, and shuts him down. And in a really embarrassing way, he interprets that as an embarrassing thing.
mhm. Yep.
And then suddenly he has a rage on for women.
Hmm.
And like he'll shout at his mom if his
Yep.
mom comes in, or like, you know what I mean? Like his mom
Yep.
calls and he's like, "Why are you calling me?"
Yep.
And it's kind of a form of that sort of
There
rejection
is,
too.
there is. I think
Yeah.
so. Doctor McCarthy does talk about that in his article. He talks about how anger masks deeper shame, but it's also in a there's a typology for that. So he talks about the survival rage. So that's something that's triggered by a physical threat. The impotent rage, which is feelings of helplessness. The attachment rage, which is fears of rejection, and the shame rage, which is arising directly from
Mm-hmm.
humiliation or embarrassment. So
Yes.
there's a typology. So
Yeah.
I would say it's the shame rage that's more appropriate in the goalie situation or the sports situation. But that's not to say aren't some of these other types making an appearance. But yeah, the rejection as well. I mean, you think about it, you've trained so hard, you're quite proud of what you're doing, and suddenly they're pulling you off in a public setting to sit on the big boy seat in front of the cameras, and you're like, I feel like I'm not good enough. I'm
Right.
rejected. I've been swapped out for someone that's better than me. So I guess that that kind of link into then this spike in adrenaline, the spike in cortisol. I think that's what leads to people like throwing their net over. And we've talked about it umpteen times.
Yeah.
Stoley calling out his team. He
Yep.
has to take back the power. He has to take back the control, because that's actually one of the things they say that's about, how to counter this is to focus on the task rather than the actual thing that's gone wrong, the final result. That's why you hear a lot of them talking about the process. They focus on the process rather than the final result. They acknowledge their mistakes, but they also call out things that led to that mistake. And I think a lot of goalies as well, they do a lot of kind of grounding techniques. And I think that's why you see them squirting their water bottle up. That's a focus, it's a grounding technique. They tap the pipes, they follow a certain routine. That's actually quite a grounding thing for them. I could talk about this forever. I love the psychology of it. And obviously, I have to state I'm not an expert in sports psychology, but I have studied psychology, so I do know slightly what I'm talking about. But I'd be really interested to hear anybody out there who's a professional that can put me right on some of these things. But for me, that shame rage thing explains the tantrums. And the one I was thinking about recently was when Swayman, the one that you spoke about before, when Jeremy Swayman went off the ice and he was going nuts at the team as
Oh, he starts
he was going off.
screaming at them.
Oh, he was going. But that was for me. That was yes, it was a venting. It was him calling out, but it was also a way for him to take back the control and reduce the shame or the humiliation that he felt.
For sure. That's like a
Yeah.
real kick to the mental health taint, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Right in
Um,
the stones.
Is
Like,
there any ones that are there any other ones that you can think about the tantrums
yes.
and we could maybe even think about it in terms of this shame rage thing or just that folk are
Well,
nutters? Because I know there
I
are some nutter goalies out there.
I could think of two examples, maybe three offhand. There's one really funny one that I remember, and it was with our favorite, Bennington.
Oh,
Okay. So he had a little bit, he's pretty famous for going off
yes,
his off his off his rocker.
that's
He's
it.
got a little bit of a temper on him,
Hmm.
hot-headed. So the one I remember was kind of funny. So Ovechkin had just scored his 900th goal, and Bennington, the crowd was going crazy, right? Bennington grabbed that puck stuck it down his pants.
That's right. I remember that.
And he was kind of making some sarcastic comments like, come and get it or whatever, or like, I'll give it to you. I meant to do that. This is a joke or whatever. But I think he was trying to, I think he had a little bit of a moment there,
Yeah. Yeah, it did. I
So,
remember that well. It was quite a
and
baffling thing. It was quite childish in a
yes,
way. It was.
yeah, it was very childish, but it was funny. It was the more humorous one I remember.
Yeah.
Another one just happened the other day, and it was UPL, Buffalo goalie. He came off the ice after that overtime goal, and I think he was really upset at himself. And he came off, and you saw him come off and go down the tunnel, and he grabbed his helmet, his
Mm,
mask, and he whipped it.
yeah.
Like he's just red in the face, his eyes were red. He just looks so mad. And one more example for Joseph Wall, of course, because I would know this about him. He and this might come to a shock or come as a shock to anybody who has seen Joseph Wall. He's very calm, he's very grounded, he's very well spoken. So when he played for well, I love the NCAA, Boston College
hmm
Eagles and Denver Pioneers. I love those teams. And of course, Arizona Sun Devils. Shout out.
hmm
Um, that's Joey DeCord's school.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so he played for the BC Eagles, and in also 2017, BC Eagles were playing Merrimack, which is also a Hockey East team in the NCAA. And I guess there was a scuffle, and there was a bit of a pushing match, and Wool was involved, and his helmet came off. I guess somebody cracked him or punched him in the head, and his helmet came off. And I guess he must have saw red because he started shoving back, and that's not the issue. But what got him suspended for one game was he saw red and he started kicking the guy when he was down with a
Wow.
skate. Yeah.
That's
So,
quite out of character for what we
yeah.
see about Joseph. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've seen him, mouth off a wee bit and swear a bit on the ice if he's upset with a certain call or the whistle hasn't been blown because his mask's popped off. That's quite a common one. But I would never have expected that from our
Yeah, he
Joe.
started it was the kicking with the skate at another player when the player was on the ice. And Will talks about it. He's talked about it in the past. He doesn't talk about it a lot. I don't think he's proud
Mm,
of the moment, but he said he just he even admit it's out of character for me and
hmm
felt like he didn't know where it came from. But once again, tantrum.
Yeah,
So he
it's
was
just,
enraged that somebody
it's
popped his
just
helmet off and it was
exactly.
embarrassing and
That's a
whatever. So
that's
he
to me
lashed out.
that's a self-preservation thing. That's definitely a self-preservation thing. And the adrenaline got flowing, the cortisol got flowing, and that was his way of venting it. Poor guy's getting a boot in the balls with the skate. But then you've got your guys. I mean, we all know that Patrick Roy was he was like the best ever tantrumer ever. You've
Oh my
also,
God.
I mean, I think you just get some players, some goalies especially that are just crazy, and we'll do that.
And
And
Belfour too.
Belfort as well. Oh, crazy,
Yeah,
crazy
he was a
Eddie.
little crazy Eddie. Oh yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I think you can set the thing about psychology. It's not a science, it's not an art. It's somewhere in between. So there are always, you know, theories to, talk about how people's behavior and what might cause that. There's typologies. But there's never ever going to be that scientific fact and proof that you get in other subjects. So I guess we could talk forever about what causes it. But I would love to get a sports psychologist to come and chat to us on here about
Yeah, it's
especially
very interesting
very
because
interesting.
it's part of the game that people don't think about. It's amazing when I talk to people who don't know a whole bunch about hockey
hmm
and I mention, oh, the sports, they have a lot of team a dentist on staff. They have
hmm
athletic trainers, massage therapists,
hmm
physiotherapists, all these people. And then I mention sports psychologists and they're like, "What?"
hmm
And I'm like, "Oh yeah, of course they have like playing growing up playing all their lives in this very competitive setting, takes a mental toll on you.
Oh,
Whether you're
absolutely.
being pushed because your parents are pushing you, your coaches are pushing you to be the best. Humans are human. They're going to make
Absolutely.
mistakes and they're going to fail.
Yep.
And yeah, like but it's
And the
very
thing
hard
is that
thing to
there's
swallow.
absolutely, and we know that there are certain athletes, and especially in hockey, that have spoken out about mental health issues, and we also know, sadly, there are a few that have taken their own lives because of the
Oh
the
yeah,
pressures that
there's
they're
been a
under.
few.
So this is nothing to be trifled with. This is serious stuff, and whether you're an athlete or just someone going about your day-to-day business, it's important to talk about it and seek help.
Yeah, and
And
sorry, one last thing, if I can mention this. It's funny because people also don't think of this aspect, not only to yourself, like feeling of yourself being a failure, but I think there's a lot of pressure at a very young age that you're letting people down. And I
Mhm,
say this
mhm,
because as a player myself, as a younger kid, I know the amount of money that my parents
mhm,
pumped into me playing hockey. It's not a cheap sport to play. And I know the amount of responsibility that I had playing on a team and, playing to the best of my ability. And the second you screw up, the second you lose focus, you feel bad for your parents.
mhm,
You feel guilty, and you feel guilty to your coach because you've let them down. You feel really bad for your line mates because you fucked something up and
mm.
you lost in overtime in a really important game because of you, and you feel bad. It's guilty too.
Yeah, it's guilt.
Guilt,
Yeah,
right?
and I mean it does. It accepts your. It affects your core values as well.
Yeah. It
Affect,
all ties
oh,
together,
listen,
doesn't it?
I'm going to go right down the CBT route if we keep talking about this. I'll be counselling everybody by the end of this podcast. But yeah, I mean, I want to definitely revisit the psychology behind the sport of ice hockey at some point. But I was thinking, like, just to cheer ourselves up after that heavy discussion. Why don't we chat about what's happening in Leafsland?
Oh boy, there's a little more drama. What chapter are we on
I
now?
don't know.
Oh my God.
It's like
They're no longer firing people
it,
anymore, are they? They're just
they're,
dropping. They're
they're
like,
just
I'm out. I'm
it's
out.
like
I'm
I'm
done.
gone. But this is the thing that a lot of people are commenting online is that the Leafs nowhere near the playoffs and yet are still headlining every day on social media about what's happening next.
We're under the microscope.
So since our last podcast, coach Berube has been fired, and with mutual agreement, both Pridham and Clancy, assistant general managers, are going to. So I guess now we're looking for a GM, we're looking for some AGMs, we're looking for a coach, and it's who's that? Who? And there's
Oh my
lots
God,
of
there's
names getting
so
bandied
many.
about. Lots of names. Um, just as a wee aside, I decided to do a little poll on my Instagram to talk about the fact that Broby was gone, and here are some names that are getting bandied about. I mentioned Cassidy, I mentioned Knobloch, and I said, right, here's my poll. Tried and tested veteran, an assistant coach moving up, a random left field, or I don't give a fuck. So 33% said tried and tested veteran, 11% said it'll be an assistant coach moving up, 30%, interestingly, said it'll be a random left field. Now, that might be somebody for the AHL coming up. And 26% said, I literally don't give a fuck.
Well,
Now, whether
shocking.
whether I can break that down by whether that was Leafs fans or non-Leafs fans, but I'm presuming a good mixture in there.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too because like it doesn't even it yeah, of course it could be a seasoned veteran, but it has to be like Berube was a seasoned veteran. These
Absolutely.
guys are all seasoned veterans. It's just you got to find the guy who
Yeah.
these young players now are going to
Yeah,
respond to. Like
exactly.
Berube had all those old style,
Yep.
rough and tumble coaching techniques, and like dump and chase and stuff. And
Yeah.
the Leafs, they're a bunch of young guys trained differently. They just didn't gel with his style.
Yeah.
So
And it's great looking back because at the time in his first season with the Leafs, I was delighted with the way things were going, and I thought we were going to go all the way. But looking back at it now, I think the reason it worked so well in the first season that Burnaby was with us was because our goaltending was shit hot. I think
yeah.
the goaltending,
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
saying the goaltending was the problem. I'm saying it
It was real good though.
because it was subpar the second season, that really showed the cracks in the rest of the play, his style of play. Um, I think that's my revisit. I don't know if people would agree with me, but this is my opinion about why it worked so well the first year and not the second year. So anyway, interestingly, we'll see who might be getting up for the coach
I
position.
thought Manny Malhotra would have been a good coach.
Yeah.
He does quite well, you know, coaching his minors teams, and I don't know. His son Caleb is in the draft.
Mhm.
He's top 10, top
Oh,
5
that's right.
maybe now.
He's the defenseman guy, isn't he? Caleb
Yeah.
Malhotra.
No, no, he's a center.
Oh, he's a centre. Oh,
He's a
who am I
center. He's a
thinking of
big
then?
center.
Oh, it's maybe because he's big. I just automatically think the big
Yeah,
guys,
he's
their
like six
defense.
two.
Yeah.
So I mean he might do well, and it's funny because is it he, okay, okay, can I just mention the Vegas
Oh, go for it.
Golden?
We're giving them far too much airplay this pod, but let's mention it because it's very important.
It's important. So there were a couple teams that asked Vegas to let Bruce Cassidy interview with them. One
Hmm.
was Los Angeles Kings, the other one was Edmonton Oilers.
Hmm.
And both the Vegas Golden, I always forget it's Showers. I'm
The
sorry.
golden
I'm sorry.
showers.
Golden Showers. They turned him down. And my theory is because they know both Edmonton and LA can beat them.
Yeah, I
And
mean
Bruce
that is
Cassidy
it.
is proven,
Now that is
right?
interesting because he has been released to be allowed to talk to the Leafs, whether that's been set up or not, but completely different conference, not
Well,
really
the
too big a
league,
yeah.
the what was it? The coaches union, the coaching NHLCA,
Mhm.
NHL Coaches Association reviewed this whole thing because I'm thinking maybe Cassidy complained,
Mm.
um, because he wants out. He's not going to sit around getting paid doing
No.
nothing for 2 years. He's passionate about the game too. So I feel like he probably went to his association and they reviewed it,
Mm.
and now they told Vegas, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So now he's allowed to go wherever he wants to interview.
Yeah. I mean, I agree that was the right decision, but there has to have been something in Cassidy's contract that made that something that Vegas thought was something that they could do, which like stop him talking. There has to have been
Yeah,
something in the
possibly.
contract to begin with. I mean, I don't scrutinize uh, general managers' contracts. I really scrutinise players' contracts, but there has to have been something. They couldn't have
There
just
has to be.
whipped that out of thin air.
There's more to it for sure.
Oh,
But I
absolutely.
find it funny that Vegas actually agreed to allow Castillo to interview with the Leafs.
I know.
What do they think of us? Wait a minute.
I know
You
exactly.
think you can beat us? Well,
Yeah. So I
I don't want to
think
say
that
anything.
that would be interesting. I think a lot of people that I've spoken to think he seems to be quite a good fit, but there's the other guy, David Carroll, as well, that a lot of people are chatting about. But
University of Denver.
but who's to say? I mean, John
Yeah.
Chayka, the big cooler shaker. I mean, who knows where his brain's going? So time will tell. I'm genuinely not going to sit and speculate too much about who we think
I
we're going to get
do
in.
you now knowing that Chris Knobloch is a very analytical guy,
Mm,
he may
yep,
be the top.
could be.
Who knows? Who
I
know? We're
just
gonna
don't know.
see. It's
Well,
it's really
it's
here.
exciting.
Being a Leafs fan is like living a Christmas Day every day. You wake up, you look at the Leafs news, and you're like, I got a piece of shit under the tree, or I got something good under the
Yeah,
tree.
I
So we're
know.
gonna see.
We're
There's gonna
gonna
be a
see.
shakeup.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like standing on that ledge every single day when I go to open up my socials to see what other
Yeah. Do I
shit's
jump?
happened.
Do I not jump? What do I do?
Yeah, the other thing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
people were chatting about is that guy, Pridham, who has mutually agreed to bugger off. I mean, I can see, there's a lot of people are saying, oh, but he was a cap genius. But I can see why they let him go because he's basically built that whole cap methodology and approach around that core four, which hasn't worked. So I can understand why it's time
Yeah.
to say goodbye. And that actually makes me quite excited about what they might do. They might have a bigger shake-up than we thought. Time will tell.
Hmm.
There's a lot of mock trades getting put
Oh
out
yeah,
there.
I know.
Well, some of them are absolutely hilarious, but it just shows you that, rent free in people's brains. The Leafs always.
Let me ask exactly. Let me ask you this one question. There's been some social media exposure here about what people are thinking. Who should be traded? Who should be traded? Who is n not movable? Now, in my opinion, and this is probably not a popular opinion, I think no one's protected.
Oh, I agree.
Like if Matthews has to go, if we can get something good, as much as I love Poppy, I mean, is it time?
It
Is it
could
time to
it could
shake it up?
be. I'm not averse to anything happening. If it's going to
So you don't feel that somebody should be protected and kept?
no,
You
I
think
don't.
everybody's game?
I think everybody's game. I think the only one that I would be quite sad to see go would be Matthew Nyes. I think he's
Oh, me
probably
too.
probably one that I think we could build a really young team around. I think that anybody else is fair game, in my opinion. If we can trade some of the big guys out and get some decent picks back from the rest of the teams out there, we've got the real potential to build a really strong team going forward. And it doesn't, for me, necessarily need to be another 10 years. It doesn't need to be a 10-year rebuild. Because look at the Habs. Everybody expected the Habs it was going to be another 3 or 4 years before their young team were up. And look at them. Look at
I
what they're
know.
doing. This gives
Yeah.
me faith that a really good shake-up is probably not such a bad thing and not such a long-term deal. I may still see um, a a really good playoff run in my lifetime.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's there's rumors now. John Chayka has said he's not looking to get rid of Matthews. He's the only one that he's not looking to get rid of.
Okay. Oh, he said that now. Right. Okay.
Yeah, that was out either this morning or late last night. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
well,
he
that
was
can
reported
change.
in saying that.
That
That could
that
change. You're
that
right.
could change exactly. We just don't know. But wait with bated breath. It's going to be an
Yeah,
interesting time for sure.
it
And
sure is.
maybe this time next year we'll be sitting going, "Oh, can I believe it? The Leafs are in the Eastern Conference Final. Who would have thought that?"
Ah, well, they've done it. They've been in the playoffs for the
Oh,
last several years.
yeah.
So it's
No
just this
reason.
year was a bit of a downer.
No, so oh, really
Yeah.
good chat today. Loved it.
Yeah,
Could
me
sit and
too.
talk forever, especially on the old psychology. Look at me sitting like that. Tell me about your mother.
I lay down on the couch when you were talking.
You were on the chaise long.
I was on the
I'm
chaise
sit
lounge.
I'm sitting with a clipboard. I've diagnosed your personality disorder. That's for sure.
Oh my God, I feel like I need to pay you now.
But let's definitely chat more about this stuff. I always feel like we kind of skim, but but maybe we can talk about it again. But thanks so much and enjoy. I hear you're off to see the
I'm
Marlies
going to see
tonight.
the Marlies play, and guess what? It's
Oh,
it's Easton Cowan's 21st
it
birthday
is. You going to
today.
sing them? You going to sing
So,
them?
yep, I'm gonna press myself up against the glass. Okay.
Happy birthday
Birthday
to
to
you,
you. And then
Mr.
promptly get
Cowan.
arrested.
Yeah, I know.
It's-
Happy
but yeah.
birthday to the cowboy. And your little
Oh
Marilyn
God.
Monroe dress floating up.
What does it? Save a horse, ride a cowboy?
Oh,
Oh
and
boy.
on that note,
On that note, go
so
Marlies go.
exactly, we'll have fun tonight and we'll see you next time on
On Crease
Crease
and
and
Desist.
Desist.